Welcome back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are back for another installment. I am R Deon Butler, and you are tuned in to Wordplay. This is a needed word, where we're going to bring to you content every week, where we're going to just encourage you, inspire you, motivate you to keep it going. All you need is just a word, and so that's what we're here to do, is bring you just that. So I got my man with me. You already know what it is. Go
What's
ahead and
up?
introduce yourself, my brother. Who are you, man? Let them know who you are, man.
All right, how you doing? It's your brother J.D. August here with y'all this morning. We're just gonna let y'all come into the chat, get into the room, come into the room. As you know, this is Need a Word. Our platform is here to encourage, to inspire, as my brother said already. And this installment, this session that we do on Sunday mornings, is called Wordplay, where we put an interesting twist on you receiving your word. So let me tell you a little bit about how wordplay is going to go. So what's going to happen, this is the most spontaneous and most impactful broadcast, game show, however you want to title it, on social media, guaranteed. Just tune in for a little bit and you'll see exactly what we're talking about. In just a moment, my brother R Deon Butler is going to put on the screen a word generator. It is a random word generator. You can find stuff online very easily like that, but we do something a little different with it. We're going to press Need a Word, and it's going to generate a random word that neither I or him have seen before. Now, when that word comes upon the screen, we're going to take the opportunity. We're going to look to God, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit to give us some insightful thoughts and a message for you, because he has you on his mind. So we're going to use that word, whatever that word might be. If you've seen past broadcasts, we've had words like ice cream cone and chimney and neck. And we have been able to take those by the power of the Holy Spirit and to bring you a relevant word. So we're going to do that for 3 rounds, 3 random words that we're going to go back and forth and speak on. And on the 4th round, we're going to need you. We're going to need you to go ahead and give us a random word. Challenge us. Give us a random word. We'll select one out of the ones that we receive, and we're going to close it off that way with the bonus round. Now, if y'all all ready and set to go, if you're ready for a word, just say thank you, Lord, because he's got one for you.
Amen. Amen. So, JD, how you feel, man? You ready?
I feel great. I feel great. It's Sunday. How are you?
Hey, man, I feel amazing, bro. We've never seen this day before. So I get super excited just to be experiencing something new with you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, because again, if I don't, I'm gonna just keep talking, and I want to go ahead and get this show on the road. So let's go ahead and add our word generator. So as you see it there, ladies and gentlemen, it says new word, press new word. We don't have any idea what the word is going to be, but we believe that whatever the word is, it's going to be something that's going to really help you and where you are currently. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Here we go. All right. So the word is cloud. 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 So as we begin to think about a cloud, we understand what a cloud is. It serves multiple purposes, right? At first, thought of a cloud, it provides shade. When you think about it on a nice summer day, the clouds that move over the sky sometimes block out of the sun from you. So we see it as a shade, but we also understand that cloud is what holds moisture, right? It's the clouds that hold moisture. And whenever the season comes for it to rain, like it was here in Atlanta, Georgia, the last couple of days, the rain would then fall from the clouds. The clouds also, again, brings forth the rain. And so as I'm looking at this word, and what I want you to begin to think about, and this could be just for you that's watching, is the cloud. Some of you guys may have, you feel a cloud over your life, to where there's some things that is blocked, some things that is a little shady in your life, and you feel like you have just a cloud of negativity, a cloud of negative things around you. But let me encourage you today, because that cloud, again, it builds moisture, it builds something up. and then there's a release that happens. So even though right now you may be in a season to where you are accumulating things, you are absorbing a lot of different things that is going on in your life, I want to encourage you to let you know that it's going to be released, right? In due time. Understanding dew as another play on words that deals with moisture in the sky, and what actually what you see there on the ground is the dew and things of that nature. And so I want to encourage you that understanding that though you may be absorbing some things that's in your life, understand that you in due season, right? The Bible says that in due season, I want to use the word due, DEW, as well as DUE, in due season. It's going to release. You're going to be able to release those things in which you have absorbed, things that you've taken in, and you're going to be able to shower down those things and be able to be a blessing to those below. Because understanding this is that the rain that comes down from the clouds, it helps water the earth. It helps water the grass. It helps water those things that are hard, like the earth, the crust. It helps soften up those things, the moisture that you've accumulated. So just off of your first thought, that's what I currently have for you is in the cloud, understanding that all the things that you've accumulated over the years, it will be a releasing, and it's going to bless those who are around you. So that's what I got so far for that. JD, what you got, my brother?
Let's kick it off. That's what I'm talking about, brother. Well, cloud. And I love how you spoke about the ecosystem of how clouds work. Of course, if you went to school, you know that clouds are first, of course, absorbing the water that is on the earth, bringing it into the clouds. And once it is full, as my brother said, in due season, it will rain. And I thought about the phrase, keep your head in the clouds, or get your head out of the clouds. That's normally how it's said. But someone who has their head in the clouds, being someone who is thinking of things that are imaginative, or maybe sometimes seen as being out of reach, daydreamers. And you know what? I was one, I think, that had my head in the clouds as a daydreamer, but that also speaks to vision. That speaks to your ability to really look towards the future and to forecast what's going to happen in your future. Forecast, because the cloud is a forecast of what's to come. Now, the head in the clouds, when I thought about that as well, everyone associates, I think most people would associate that the clouds associate with heaven. When you think about looking at the clouds, you feel like you are looking up to heaven. So as you mentioned that in due season, things will fall from that which was absorbed by the clouds. I want you to know as well that although sometimes we get a little annoyed by the clouds that are over our head, the situations that have turned dark, the challenges that seem to keep coming at you and raining and storming, no one really feels like it's a fun thing when the storm comes. But remember that the clouds, not also do they stay in heaven, but they come from heaven. They were created by heaven. So it reminds me of a verse that says that all good gifts comes from the Father above. And know that even the clouds, even the things that seem negative, come from the Father above. These are good gifts, things that will either help you with your character, help you with your patience, help you to progress into the next season of your life, because clouds, although they rain is necessary. The word says that both seasons are necessary, when it's raining and when it's not raining, because how can you bear fruit unless you go through the rain? Rain nourishes your ground. It allows you to grow, and it allows you to continue to expand. So that's my initial thoughts when it comes to cloud. It's all right to have your head in the clouds as long as you keep your feet on the ground. Because if you're looking towards the clouds, you're looking towards the Lord, from which cometh your help. And our help does come from the Lord. So I will say that, just to get us started off.
Wow, powerful, bro. And we're gonna leave it right there. That is cloud. So again, I hope that you guys was able to get some things out of what we were able to extrapolate from the word cloud, and understanding to keep your head above clouds as well. And just one last thing, just to add, so I can button this up, is you guys can all relate. Flying in an airplane, oftentimes what will happen is that it might be raining, because the clouds, as we said, is bringing forth the rain, and it could be a lot of turbulence. And what happens is the pilot, he would take that plane and he will fly above the clouds.
Mm.
And if you've ever been on a flight where the pilot has flown above the clouds, you realize there's sun. There's sunshine above of the cloud. There's sunshine, even though there's raining, there's storms, there's lightning that's happening below. Above that is the sun. It's the sunshine. And so just want to encourage you again, if as long as you keep your head above the clouds, you're able to see the sun, the S-O-N. You're able to see the sun. You look towards the hills from which cometh your help, and you will realize even in the midst of the storm, just keep your head above the clouds so that you can see the sun. I just want to add that last little bit on that, if you didn't mind, JD. I felt that in my spirit there. I wanted to share that.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
All right, so you ready for the next word?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Here we go.
All right. So let's get going. So the word is frog. Now, a frog. Obviously, a frog being a small animal. I'm not sure if it's categorized as a reptile or is the word amphibian. And in the frog, a lot of people I know are scared of frogs here in Florida. I know there's a lot of people with a lot of terror when it comes to frog, seen as slimy, ugly little animals, just to be quite frank. The thing that comes to mind when I think about the frog is the very noticeable process of growth for a frog.
Come on.
Right? I don't think most people know the different processes of most animals, but a frog, majority of us do know. We all know they start off as a tadpole. And when you see the tadpole, it's just this small, very small black thing with the tail, and it's just swimming all over the place.
Right,
and then the frog begins to grow legs and begins to grow the arms and its entire nervous system, the way that it breathes. It's good on land. It's good in water. But when it first started off, it was just in the water. And I believe that it speaks again to process into growth. Process into growth. The environment that you're in deals, it will impact the way that you are able to grow significantly. The tadpole, if it starts off on land, will not be able to ever process or change into the frog that it is supposed to become. It has to be in the water. It has to be in the water so that it can get the nourishments that it needs, so that it can get used to that environment until it grows what it needs to be able to now transition into the next environment. A tadpole can't jump around on land for too much long, especially if it doesn't have water on that land. It has to grow its legs first so that way it can hop around and eventually end up in front of your doorstep, scaring the heck out of you. So the process of growth of a frog is what's coming to me right now. And I want you all to just be patient with your process. I know that you already want to go over to the promised land. I know that you had some promises that you have been waiting on, that you have been wanting to receive, but you are in the tadpole stage of your career, of marriage, of wherever you are in life. And it would be extremely dangerous for you to jump onto land without having the tools necessary to be able to move in that environment. You got to grow some legs first. And that's not a negative thing. It's a positive thing, because in the water where you are, although the land looks really good, everything you need is in the water. Isn't the word described as the water? The water of this is just a little wordplay. Stay in the water. The water has the nourishment that you need so that you can be successful in the land. I can keep going, but my brother's got something. We're gonna cover.
Oh man, come on, man! I love that, bro. I love just the aspect of the process. My wife, Juanita, she chimed in and said the process is called metamorphosis, right? So when I think of the word metamorphosis, you're talking about a change. Things are changing. You talked about the transition. You're going from water to land. There's transition. There's a change in the physical aspect of the frog from the tadpole to the actual frog. There's a change that has happened. The environment in which the frog is in has also changed. And another thing I begin to look at when we're talking about the frog is, do you remember like in high school in science class, you would have your little science experiment where you had to dissect what?
Mm.
A frog, right? Dissecting the frog allows you to open it up and to see what was inside, to see the organs, to see the makeup of this particular thing. And what God is saying is that for you guys out there that may be in a tadpole situation, you may be in a situation to where that you're underwater or you're dealing with some things that's inside of the water, but there's a transformation that's getting ready to happen. There's a metamorphosis that's going to happen. There's a change in the transition from where you currently are to where you're going, and understanding that there's need to be a dissection happening where he's opening you up. He's pulling away the skin and the layers so that you can really see who you are on the inside. There's a lot of things that you guys are going through, and you don't realize how strong you are. You don't realize all of the things that you're capable of doing and the things that you are capable of achieving. It's when God opens you up and begin to dissect and peel back the layers that you're able to see of those things that make you who you are. So I've heard it put this way from my bishop in North Charleston, but he always would say, "There's a poor frog who don't piss in his own pond." Never really kind of understood that phrase, but it's basically it's understanding of being appreciative of where you are and using the things that you've been given. And I love the aspect of the frog because of the metamorphosis, because of the change and the transition that takes place in the life of a frog. You able to kind of take away and use that to your life and your situation. So even as the frog begins, you have various types of frogs that you know that you may see that could be in a pond. There are different types of frogs. There's different types of transitions. My transition may not look like yours.
Yeah.
Right. I may be a different frog. I'm thinking of a toad as an example of just a difference in my transition. Though we all transition, but my outcome was maybe a little different than yours. But I want to encourage you guys right now that are in the season in your life to where you feel like you're just that little small tadpole, that you're just in the water, just going from to and fro, understanding that the change is going to come, the metamorphosis is going to happen to where God is going to begin to dissect some things, and you're going to reveal some things to you. And once you go through your process, like my brother said, once you go through that process, I'm gonna end it with the movie, The Princess and the Frog. You know how he was turned into a frog, but at the end he became the prince, right? That she was looking for all along. And so that speaks to who you are, who you will be, who you're destined to be. Royalty, prince. We're talking royalty. We're talking status, statue, all those things. If you just go through the process, it's going to be ugly. It's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult. But just go through the process. Allow God to change you and metamorphosize your mind, your mentality into something new.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what I have.
Let's keep going on that same vein. So when you're in the process, as we talked about, it can be pretty ugly and no one likes it until you learn to like it. And you're like, why am I a tadpole? Look at all these frogs running around on land, and I'm sitting here in this pond, and I can't really move the way that I want to. You might feel like that. Do you feel stagnant? Remember, we talked about the process being necessary so that way you can grow the limbs that you need so that you can move in your next environment. But I'm from South Florida, and we got a little saying down here. And it
Okay.
says, if you feeling froggy,
Jump.
leap. Yeah.
Right, right.
Up. Some say leap, you know, and that's what we want you to do. The reason why you're going through this process and you're growing the tools that you need to be able to succeed in your next environment and to move into your next environment is so you can leap. See, if you're starting to feel froggy, you feel like you've gone through a process where the skills that you needed, the experiences that you needed, leap. You've been dating for a while. You know each other pretty well. You've been under God's provision and God's direction. Why let a pandemic stop you? Leap. You've been working on that business for some years. You've done your homework. You've gotten some pluses. You've gotten some minuses. You got some successes and some failures. And you may not have everything that you need, but you got legs. So guess what? Leap. Leap. See, leap is also coincided with faith. See, once you are become a frog, full grown, you are able to leap, jump out on faith. You don't have, as a frog, if you have a frog mentality, you don't have to have everything that you need to be able to leap. Think about it. A frog doesn't have, they don't even need a lily pad. No, normally you see a frog and a lily pad and they jump off the lily pad from here. But if there's no lily pad, the frog still has its legs. The frog will leap regardless of what it has or what it does not have. And so we will here, we want to encourage you to leap into that next area of your life. Once you feel like you have gone through a process and that you have taken and learned what you needed from your previous environment, God has dissected you to allow you to see the things that you need to see under the layers of your life, the things that will cause you to fail if you did not become aware of them. The procrastination that you had before, that attitude of negativity that you had before, the things that were going to work against your ability to leap. He allows you to see them so that you can correct them. And then now you can leap and run and jump and go about in a new environment the way that you need it to be. So that's what I would say to you. And that's what we would want to say to you is to leap. Leap into your next goal, leap into your future, leap because you've gone through the process.
Wow. Yeah, I'm gonna pause right here and tell you to share this broadcast, guys.
Yeah.
This is some good stuff, guys. I'm telling you. I know you guys needed to hear that. Somebody's watching needed to get that confirmation. It's all right to jump. It's all right to leap. Step out on faith. Because once you leap on faith, got to turn around and have you then leap for joy. Because once you turn this thing around and bless your life because of your faith, then you'll be leaping for joy. So what an amazing, amazing word, JD. Thank you for that. And so I'm going to go ahead and leap to the next word. I'm gonna jump to the next one. And so, guys, that's 2 down. We have 1 more to go. For those of you who are watching, we are coming up on our bonus round. So make sure that you go ahead and comment what that word is that you want JD and I to share, to really hone in and to give you something that you've been looking for. So that's what we have coming up. But we're going to go ahead and jump to our last word of today. And here it is. Girl. Guys, I can't make this stuff up, right?
Yeah.
Can't make this stuff up. But hey, that is the way this game goes.
Yeah.
That is the word that we've been given. Girl. As I think of the word girl, a couple of things come to my mind. First thing that comes to my mind is my main girl, my main squeeze, my boo thing, my rib. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, girl. You see what I said there? Girl, you know what I'm talking to. It's you. I know you're watching me. My baby girl, my wife, Juanita, I love you. Just want to pause and say that in front of everyone. I'm not ashamed. I love you, girl. You're my girl. The other thing that I would say to that is I begin to think of my baby girl, my daughter, and Israel, my daughter, my one and only girl. And I began to think of her because um, I believe is when, and I heard this saying before, it's like when you are growing up as a guy and you're trying to do your thing, and one of those things that God, I've heard, gives back to you, with your so-called player, so-called guy that's is out there running around having fun with a lot of girls, that God sense of humor is to give you a girl. It changes your entire life. I'm telling you, from the moment I had my daughter, everything changed. Again, I look at life a little differently. And I say that because the woman that she's going to be, I have the responsibility as the father to teach her things, to show her things, to lead her in a way to where she develops into the woman that God created for her to be. So that the word girl for me, it speaks to responsibility. Not only am I her father, but I'm also her protector. I have the responsibility to make sure that she is taken care of, that she's provided for. And so when I think, for me, when I think of the word girl, I think of responsibility. It's because I looked as my wife to my wife, I look to my daughter, and as the man, as the head, as the leader of my family, it's my responsibility to ensure their safety, to ensure that I'm providing things that's going to help them. Again, encouraging her, letting her know that she is a queen. She's going to get affirmation from me. That's my responsibility in my role, is to affirm her, to understand what her worth and how priceless she is, so that no other guy can come and to devalue her. Girl, I think of again a precious jewel. I think of something that's rare in this world and we should value, but oftentimes we don't. And so I'm also heartbroken over the fact of so many girls are being mistreated. So many girls are being taken away via sex trafficking. So many girls are having their precious innocent taken away from them. So these are all my aspects of the word girl, and I want to speak to the girls out there, because in every woman there's that girl that's still there, that girl who wants to be loved, that girl who wants to be affirmed, that girl who wants to be able to understand that she is valuable, that she has a place in society. I want to speak to you and encourage you, a girl, a woman, queen. You are valued. You are beautiful. You are, again, God's greatest gift to the world, because you bring forth life into this world. So I wanted to share with something with you and let you know that you're special. I value you. I appreciate you. I love you. And that's what I want to start off with that.
Let's go with it. All right. All right. And girl, the whole time I was sitting here thinking as you were speaking, it brought me back to the word cloud. And I'm like, and I heard you speaking to your wife, and I'm like, I got my head in the clouds too. Right? Got my head in the clouds too. I once was a frog kissed by a princess.
Mm.
And that allowed me to grow. And she's a girl. And I put all those words together, and I think about her favorite song. I got sunshine on a cloudy day.
Oh, come on now.
What's the name of that song? My Girl.
My girl.
How
Yep.
you doing, baby? All right. So, to my wife, beautiful love. Love you. Thank you for looking. Thank you for watching. Thank you for kissing me and turning me from a frog to a man as well. And as I thought about that impact that a girl has, you talk to the women, to the girls. I'm going to talk to the fellas.
Okay.
I'm going to talk to the fellas. When you see that word girl, what do you think of?
Mm.
Maybe that's one of the reasons why society has now broadcasted them in a certain light, because is that what we want to see?
Mm.
See, there's a vast difference of how you see a girl. My brother talked about what we all have dealt with with maybe how we saw girls in our single life. But then isn't that completely different to how you see a girl when you're a father? How can the two coincide? How can you view a girl on Instagram and want to view everything about them, want to approach them in disrespectful manners, want to treat them any type of way, and at the same time, the same species of beauty, a girl, you see as being precious when it comes to your daughter? Something's disconnected. So I would speak to the brothers for us to continue to metamorphosize from frogs as seeing women in one light. The same beauty and the same future and the same queen that you see in your girl, your daughter, your nieces, your sisters, should be the same vision that you have for the girl and the women that you want in your life and how we treat them. You know, one thing is that we associate the word girl with the color pink because girls are soft, they're pretty, they're beautiful. But I think that women have shown us that they are more than just the color pink. They are all shades of colors. That they come with the power of the color black. That they come with the royalty of the color purple. That they come with the humility of the color yellow. I don't even know if yellow means humility. But don't you be yellow and be scared of a powerful girl. You might have a powerful woman in your life, and the same way that you want a powerful vision for your spouse, for your daughters, is the same thing you should want for your spouse and for those you date. You only need one good girl in your life, and that will give you so much power. They are so impactful. So just that color of pink, that's all cool, but they're so impactful. They're so impactful to our lives. And the women, they're here. What are they saying? Who runs the world? Girls. And they do. And they do. They do. Alongside with us. Not below us, but alongside with us. So stand up when you see a girl in a situation that she needs support, she needs help, she needs strength. Don't try to take advantage of that situation because you wouldn't want anyone to take advantage of your little girl. So when I think of the word girl, that's what I think. I think of my girl, and I think of the temptation that we have to view. I know y'all caught that. The temptation that we have to view girls in one light. But at one point, you will have to see them in another light, because if you have a daughter or a niece, it's undeniable, unless there is something wrong with you, that you see that girl as a powerful thing for your future, as a part of your life and your lineage, something to protect. Why would you change that view when it comes to the girl that's going to help you to produce that girl? Because they all girls. They all girls.
Wow. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it, right there. Man, this has been quite the experience. I know some of you guys were not expecting this.
Yeah.
I mean, the way that God allowed us to use the power of the words, understanding the cloud, keeping our heads above the clouds, but understanding what the cloud represents in our life. The cloud also represents God too. When you think about in the wilderness, he led the children of Israel with a cloud, right? It speaks to also a type of God, and he's in the clouds of life and of moving us from one way to the other. And then you get to a place to where you are a frog, and he changes you, and he transitioned. The children of Israel was transitioning out of bondage. So even in that, there was a transitioning happening just like the frog. It was water there, obviously the Red Sea, right? I'm using biblical terms now. And in that, there was a transition from going from one to the other, going to the promised land, as JD mentioned earlier. And get to the promised land, and the promised land that they got to. Were again something that God had prepared for them, a valley that flows with milk and honey, right? And we all know the girls have the milk and the honey. I'm telling you,
Amen.
come on now, come on now. But so yeah, we put all that there together just to encourage you on this evening. And so the moment you've been waiting for, it is time for our bonus round. Our bonus round.
All
So you know
right.
what time it is, JD.
So yes, so remember the bonus round is a word that we choose from our viewers. If you are watching this on the playback, unfortunately, you don't have the opportunity to participate, but join us on Sunday mornings, 11:30 a.m. live for Wordplay. We'd love for your comments. Feel free to leave comments even as you're watching it on the playback, and we'll see you every single week. But we do have a word in here from one of our viewers, so we're going to go ahead and strike that word. And the word is courage. Courage.
Mm,
So,
courage.
so let's go ahead.
Okay.
We want to encourage you. So we will go ahead and use that word courage and a little bit of wordplay. And when I think of courage, as a man, as a boy, I think about a lot of movies that I watched when I was younger, where the heroes always had courage. They had bravery. They were able to do things that other mere men could not do. And it makes me think about the movie Troy for some reason with Brad Pitt. Man, he had some courage. The movie Troy. If you haven't watched that movie, go and check it out. It is definitely a classic. But he was one of these heroes that was able to take down so many enemies. He was very skilled, very powerful, and very brave. Courage. Courage. So, of course, in life, we know that courage means to be able to have the confidence to be able to do something others aren't willing to do.
Mm.
You know what? In the same vein of everything we've been talking about, it makes me think of a very courageous man that I once knew. His name was George. DeGeorge. Last name was DeGeorge. Tony DeGeorge. It almost slipped me. I couldn't forget you, my brother. God rest your soul. Very powerful man of God. My cousin's wife, her father, who we didn't know was greatness walking amongst us until he passed away, and we were at his funeral, and all the people that came to his funeral from everywhere and how they spoke about him. His name was Tony DeGeorge. We called him Pops because he always taught us. And I brought him up because of a lesson that he taught me that never left me. He says any man can make 1 million women happy one time. But it takes a real man, a courageous man, to make one woman happy 1 million times. And that's what I want to encourage you. I'm still speaking to the brothers. That's who my spirit is connected with you all who are watching on playback right now. I'm not speaking from a position of someone who is perfect or someone who has gone through a metamorphosis. So have the courage to be the man that you have been designed to be. Have the courage to allow yourself to be dissected and transformed so that you can take care of the girl and the girls around you. A real man makes one woman happy 1 million times. I also think about the movie Courageous. I don't know where this is going to go because I was just about to pass it on, but I'm going to take it with what the Spirit is saying. I think about the movie Courageous. It's a Christian-based movie. If you haven't seen that one, go check that out. And it speaks about troubles in marriage. And there was a plan that this married couple, or the married man, actually, the husband had to do to really help and to help his marriage for them to get back on the same page. And it's a very powerful movie. But they named it Courageous because it took him to be courageous to be able to make sure that his crumbling marriage did not just fall apart. So he followed this plan, I believe it was for 30 days, to where he did some things each day to show his wife that he loved her and to make her happy 1 million times. It's the same theme. I guess that's where the Spirit was going. So watch that movie. I think, fellas, we got some work to do. right? We have some girls that we need to change the way that we're looking at them. And we have to remember that the only reason you a prince now is because that girl kissed you. So this is not the time to turn back into a tadpole, not knowing how to flow in that environment. So watch that movie if you need some instruction and some help on how to get your marriage back on the right page and how you can breathe life back into your marriage and to become a courageous man, because we all know that the opposite of being courageous is being a coward. So I'll leave you with this. Are you a coward?
Wow. I mean, am I supposed to come back from that? Am I supposed to add on to that? I mean, brother, you took all the meat off the bone, if you ask me. I mean, it may be a little bit by the gristle. You know, I may be able to find a little bit of meat there, but oh my gosh, what a mouthful there. And guys, just to share lasting things on the word courageous, or courage, I would say, is that oftentimes the idea of courage is almost, you take the account of the absence of fear, right? Well, I'm courageous, I'm not afraid of anything. But it's not necessarily the absence of fear, it's you standing up in the midst of it. Because you think of someone that has a lot of courage, I think of like our public, first responders, or I think of firefighters. They'll be the first to say, people will say that they're courageous or they have a lot of courage because they fight fires. It's not to say that they're not fearful or afraid, but that they're able to stand in the midst of it. And so what I wanted to share with you guys as we're closing out today is that we understand there's a lot of things that are happening in this country to make one afraid. There's a lot of things that are happening in this country where we don't really know for sure how things are going to turn out. But I want to encourage you to understand it's how you do or how you live your life in the midst of it. How are you living your life in the midst of uncertainty? How are you living your life in the midst of chaos? See, that's where true courage lies. It's in the midst of that situation that appear to be dead. It's in a situation that appear to be going awry. It's how do you handle adversity in the midst of it? That's what courage is not the absence of fear, but it's that you're having the faith in the midst of it to continue on pressing. And so as we're encouraging you today, is we want you to know to keep pressing. I understand it may looks like it's in dire strait, that situation you're dealing with, but keep pressing. You have the courage to continue on in the midst of adversity, in the midst of that fire. Keep pressing. As JD mentioned before, you take that leap of faith. You rely and trust on God's cloud of glory as he's moving and leading you into the promised land. You just keep pressing. There are going to be some giants in the midst of that place that God may be leading you. But when you talk about courage, it's you're standing up in the midst of those giants. You're standing up and ready to fight in the midst of adversity. So again, there's some strong women that God has placed in my life, and I know it's placed in JD's life, and he has built them up. And we have a accountability and responsibility to them, fellas, because you are strong as well. I'm reminded of Gideon in the Bible, who considered himself a weakling, wasn't very confident in his ability. But God came to share with him that you are a mighty man of valor. And those people I'm speaking to, the men out there, you have two options. You are cowards or are you courageous, right? But the cowards are only cowards when they don't understand who they are. You see what I'm saying? Where you don't understand that you are a mighty man of valor. You have responsibility and the accountability to do the thing that God has called you to do. So as you prepare for this week, we want you to know that you continue to press, you continue to jump, leap on faith, trust in God, trust in the process.
Yeah.
It's going to work out for you.
And before we close out, I just wanted to kind of talk about that. You are already, as my brother said, you are already in the land. Most of us, we are already in the land where God has promised us. There's a section of you that we're speaking to right now. You're already in the midst of it. So as he said, that courage is not the absence of the fear, but the ability to stand up in the midst of it, which means you're already in there, and there's fearful thoughts and fearful things. Men, sometimes we can be very insecure because of things that we fear can happen. Sometimes we are fearful of loving because of the fear of what could happen. But since you are already in the land, as we said, you have two options: to be courageous or be a coward. Or in the other way of saying it, you have the ability to be encouraged, encourage yourself, or you have the option to be discouraged. But you're already in it. So how will you be in the land? Will you be encouraged? And even if no one's there to encourage you, encourage yourself. Speak well of yourself. As my brother said, Gideon didn't know. But when God dissected you, he didn't just show you what was wrong. He also showed you what was good. He showed you how I built you. Remember those times and the process that you went through to get to the land. So that way you can encourage yourself if it feels like no one else is around. Because the only other option is to be discouraged. And you can discourage yourself. You can say, I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. This is not going to happen. I can't make this happen, just because of the clouds and the storms that are around. But don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, because the cloud is going to help you, and it's going to help you process. So I just wanted to throw that in real quick before we button that up. Anything you want to tap it off by the end?
Nah, man. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. That is wordplay for today. Be sure to share it, like it. Again, we want to encourage you guys. If you know somebody who needed a word, share it, tag them in this. Because again, we believe that God has shared some things to encourage everyone who's listening. So thank you all for watching. We appreciate you. Be sure to check out our Word of the Day Wednesday, where we're going to bring you whatever the word of the day is for this upcoming Wednesday. We're going to do the same thing as we've been doing the last few weeks, just to encourage you in a different way. So until we meet again, R Deon Butler, we have my man J.D. Auguste.
J.D. Auguste, and you already know, y'all, keep it live, keep sharing this. And I just want to do one thing real quickly. I want to direct you to some words based off of what we just did. If you get the chance, go read the story of Gideon. Since the Holy Spirit brought it up, read the story of Gideon if you're looking for somewhere to read in the Word. Second story, read the story of Elijah when there was a cloud that was the size of a man's hand. Go ahead and read that story. That just dropped in my spirit. So if you don't know where it is in the Bible, that's all right. Just Google it. It'll come up. And then we gave you some movie recommendations. Troy, just for my men who want to see what it looks like. And at the same time, that movie Courageous as well. So we're giving you some substance to go away with as well, so that you can kind of continue to encourage yourself as well. So you already know what it is. Sunday morning, 11:30, Wordplay, R Deon Butler, J.D. Auguste. Thank y'all for joining.
Peace. See y'all.